It's another one of these videos again, isn't it? I was reading the news last week. What will be last week when we were going to review this album, and I was reading about if Johnson is not yet man enough to live wrestle like Palmides and all that is, he revealed his affections for this sport, pre-marital announcements, and an extended introduction to his latest attack on Theresa May's Brexit plans. So it's ding ding, he begins. Seconds out. I was like, huh? Because that's what we're reviewing. How weird is that? Great title. I like that. I think it's funny. That's Genesis humour. Seconds out. A much loved live album cements the fact that they're still a great band without Peter Gabriel. That was their intention at the time. Phil does a stellar job, and it's not people that say it because it's Phil Collins. He was the drummer, and he just took over and started singing all the songs. Obviously better in some places than others. It is a great version of Supper's Ready. It's technologically so far ahead, and everything works, and there's no weird. It's smooth and brilliant, and Phil's vocals are not Peter Gabriel, so the vocals are always they're there and they're right, they're correct, and that's it. There's no mojo. Some fantastic playing. I think it suffers from the Genesis perfectionism. I think the soundboards are probably more enjoyable, of which I've heard Brazil and one of these. I think that's what I've heard. And once again, it's not a complete show. Thanks. It's the Wind and Wuthering songs are missing. There's only 2. Is it 2?
Is there that?
1?
Yeah.
1. They played loads and they didn't put them on. I suppose at the time that makes sense. This is not like with Genesis Live. This is a major release now. Live albums are like, they're doing their live album now, and obviously, if Wind and Wuthering has just come out, it's going to compete with it. So I suppose that maybe that's the way they're thinking. I never liked Robbery, Assault and Battery. Hang on, and that's just a thing. I just don't like it. And in truth, I think you had to be there for Squonk live. Apparently, it was this amazing moment where the concert starts, everyone stands up at a Genesis concert, and Genesis does Zepp comes on, but a recording of it. It's a bit boring live. It's a bit boring, sorry. It's just very slow and safe and. So there's stuff missing. Dance of the Volcano, Los Endos, awesome live versions of that, and this is fantastic. And the consolation prize is that they've taken songs off. We get Cinema Show, which they didn't play on that tour, with Bill. Yes, oh yes. Can't we just have a whole show with Bill and a whole show on the Wind and Wuthering tour? I mean, no, you can't. Sorry. Right, go on.
Me. Live albums aren't my thing. Definitely. I look at it. I've heard all these.
Again.
Okay, interesting. But am I going to get excited about it? Maybe not. For some reason, track 2 is called The Carpet Crawl.
Yes.
I don't know if that's...
There's Carpet Crawlers, The Carpet Crawlers, Carpet Crawl. I think The Carpet Crawl is also a thing. I think the single version is called Carpet Crawl. Oh. And there is a bit at the start that's different. It's missing a bit. Actually, if you listen to the album version, it's different. I don't know if that's the reason. I'm not sure. I've never figured out what... I'm sure there's fans that will be able to tell us exactly what that is.
And it's got Steve Hackett listed in the credits here.
Yeah, Steve Hackett. Yeah.
And yet...
Very low in the mix.
Firth of Fifth?
That's him.
Is it?
Yeah. They turned him down after he left, but he's there. He's got really good at playing it now. So there was an edge to it earlier on, which is no longer there. And he plays it very cleanly and smoothly now, with all volume control and stuff.
Why isn't it as awesome then?
Because it's too perfect, isn't it? And remember, it's not just the live performance, it's the cleaned up, perfect live album live performance, not the actual live performance.
You can definitely hear it's Look How Good We Are Now, because there is a definite difference in the playing.
Yes.
And they do sound a little bit more...
cleaner.
Yeah, polished.
Yes, it's really, really polished, which is good and bad. It's not only bad, it's also good. It can be a good thing.
And actually, the track listing's pretty good.
Yeah.
You know, there's not many on there you think, well, I don't want to listen to that,
Yeah.
even though I've heard them all before.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's all right. It's a live album. I don't know what to say, really.
It's a lot.
It's a live album.
Songs on it.
A live album with a collection of good songs. Played all right, but I'd probably prefer to listen to the album.
Mm. And a shiny perfectionist's version of Supper's Ready, which is the thing.
Yeah.
You know, remember, that was the live version of Supper's Ready.
So did Phil Collins wear the stupid hat triangle?
No.
Well,
No,
I'm
he just
not
had a
interested then. Not interested.
Yeah, wrong.
Sorry.
So much has changed. I mean, we've just done Genesis Live to now. It's not just the band that's changed. Everything has changed. The technology has moved on, and in 77, people do not like experimentation. Yeah, people like to say they like experimentation, and they like to be very conservative. Also, live albums are now an important thing, so this has got to be perfect. They're master musicians. They're the greatest musicians in the world. No one can play quite like them, etc. So it's got to be perfect. You know, and the scale of everything is growing. The industry's growing. Concerts are growing. Genesis grow with the industry. Remember, that was the thing until the very end when they didn't. Not the time of surreal stage shows and silly costumes and like what. You know, people wanted massive, epic presentations with minimal risk. Okay, well, let's say it. The Wall is an expression of that. Both in terms of it actually being a massive, big, epic new thing, and being the old theatrical thing. It is both of those things, but it's not safe. It's quite a incredibly risky show to do. Obviously, do The Wall, but it's also about what's bad about it, isn't it? That's interesting. Whereas Genesis won't do that. Genesis just did it, and they were all happy on their massive stage. It's just Phil Collins in the middle. They don't have a larger-than-life singer, and that's the thing, isn't it? Because he left, they had to adjust, and that's really the story of Genesis: is that they didn't have the front man. They didn't have David Coverdale going "Oh baby" and spinning the microphone stand. They don't even have a bass player who scales at the audience. You know, they tried when in 2007 when they had the ridiculous stage, massive that they built, scaffolding and stuff with screen. The whole thing's a screen. They tried Phil singing outside the cage bit in the cage, outside the cage, up on top, so he appears on top. In the rehearsals they tried it and they all laughed because it just looked ridiculous. It's just Phil Collins up there, bald. And you see how Pink Floyd say they haven't got that, but they have a presence, or Dave Gilmour has a presence, and that's what that projected. And Genesis don't even have that, and I thought that was really interesting. You know, so what did they have is the question. You know, they adapted, but it's all still Genesis. You know, except for maybe the very end, maybe.
Yeah, but they're playing songs.
Yeah.
The vast majority of these are Peter Gabriel songs.
Yes. Yeah. You know, they're playing they are playing all the hits, even though they weren't hits, obviously.
Yeah.
It's a really nice mix. I mean, there's weird things like Afterglow is track 4. There's nothing to introduce Afterglow, and that's just an edit. They just chopped it off. Or the playing that becomes before Afterglow. But if you look on the record, that's the end of side 1. And then side 2 is Peter stuff. So it does make sense. And then the next side is Supper's Ready, and then next side is back to, you know, Dance on the Volcano and all that stuff. So it does make sense if you separate it out. But you can see it is the live album. First live album, it's Selling England Onwards, is what they're looking at really. And they need Supper's Ready on there. You know, that's what's going to sell, and they know what they're doing. You know, and the live albums did that. So there's no crossover of songs in the live albums until they did the old medley in '92 when they played Dance on the Volcano again. But pretty much apart from that bit, nothing. Even Turn It On Again isn't on the live albums in '92, '93. You've got I Know What I Like on there, which is an obligatory part of the show. And it's interesting how it became. I think it became something else. It's just a little thing on the album, isn't it? And in the show as well. It's the second song on the album, and you know it's not an encore. But by this time it was a thing, and Phil does his dance thing he does, which was an attempt to sort of make up for the fact that Peter Gabriel's not there. He'll do a dance because that's what he knows. It's that kind of thing. It shows, and you get excerpts. I can't say it, of songs in a note I like, and you always get Stagnation, and there's other stuff on here as well. Is it Visions of Angels is on there as well? I think on that one. I'm trying to remember. And the audience sing along. I'll tell you what, if you 2007, the 2007 show in Rome, and it's like Rock in Rio. It's thousands of people, and to be angry at Genesis for being successful and making more accessible music, Stagnation is being sung by thousands and thousands of people at a concert. You should be proud. How cool is that? That something on Trespass is being sung. These thousands of Italians. That's so cool. The key to it, the key to explaining what's not there, is that bit in Supper's Ready, which is played on flute. Of course, it's not. It's just Tony Banks playing it.
Yeah, which is
on
crap.
his keyboards, and it's just never going to be there. I've put here they invented Very Lights, but I think that's a bit later, so we'll talk about that later. We don't egg live albums. I like this more than Genesis Live.
I'll just throw it on the pile with Genesis Live.
It's another live album.
It's another live album of songs I already know. Let's see how they can fuck up this song by mixing it with something else and play it live.
Well, interesting, the end of CD 1, which of course actually the end of disc 2, actually. So it's weird, actually. That seems further along the concert. The Lamb and the Musical Box. And I think Phil singing The Lamb doesn't work at all. The playing of the fast version of the Lamb song is fantastic, so it was kind of worth doing. But Phil singing it never worked. But then the last bit of Musical Box is really good with Phil, I think. Having the closing section of Musical Box. So yeah, another live album. We'll do an album next.
Yeah,
of songs.
See, my feeling is, I don't know if we've talked. I'm sure we probably have talked about it before. I'm probably just repeating myself. But a live album. Oh, okay, an album is a piece of art. Yeah, you strive to get this thing ready to present to the world. A live album isn't. It's a
very difficult. What is it?
It's sort of this is what how good the band were at playing their songs at this point in time.
Yeah. What does that mean? It's not the concert.
No.
So what is it? Yeah, I don't know. It's weird, isn't it?
You don't even necessarily get a sense for that because post-production and whatnot
means it's not real.
And poor recording.
Yes. Yeah. And in this case, this isn't.
What is it you're listening to, really?
Yeah. What is it? Very strange. And particularly in prog, where it's all about an album is a thing, is a statement. What is a live album then? I don't know.
It's a way of meeting a contractual obligation.
Yes,
essentially.
Yeah, and a way of selling lots of records by this time. It was like, they're doing the live album now. I'll get that. It's got Supper's Ready on it. Yeah.
Again.
Yeah.
That's my feelings on live albums.
Yes. So the next one, in, I don't know, maybe 3 weeks, something like that. And then there were 3 is the next one, of course, because Steve was gone. During the mixing of this, he was gone.
My preconceptions are it's going to be crap, just so you know. So, am I going to be surprised? Are you going to be surprised? Tune in next time.
Bye-bye, everybody. Bye-bye.